Here we are on day 10 of Video a Day February. I know I am a little behind, but I do plan to catch up today, sometime between today and tomorrow. But let's move right into this. This video is going to be a three-part. I'm going to divide it up into three parts because I have so much content to cover. But basically, what I'm going to be talking about are three issues that come up a lot with the male gender when you're involved with them as a heterosexual woman and you're looking for you're looking at a boyfriend, a future husband. These are some things that you need to be aware of. Now, as I go through these, don't think that this means that you automatically have to end the relationship. Of course, these behaviors will appear on a spectrum. They will be sometimes, very light, very occasional, where you just check the guy and everything gets back on track. The benefits of being with him far outweigh these occasional little hiccups. However, if you have a guy who is very heavy in any of these kind of negative behavior patterns, you really would want to think about ending the relationship because he's going to suck you dry. He's going to just drain you of any positivity, any self-esteem, any kind of belief in yourself, because you'll be focusing more on placating him and his insecurities and his sense of inferiority and his self-esteem and ego than you will you and your goals and the dreams and things that you have for yourself. So keep that in mind as you listen to this. So let's begin by defining what emotional insecurity is. It's basically like somebody gets in a situation, right? And maybe they're around somebody who they perceive is better than them. That's usually all it takes. It doesn't have to be that the person is. It's all in the person's perception of who that individual is and what they represent. So they will start to feel vulnerable, kind of afraid, inferior in some way. They don't feel good enough. They feel like they don't measure up. They feel insignificant and small when they start to compare themselves to this person. It may be the way the person looks, the person's accomplishments, the person's fame, the person's wallet. It could be anything. But instead of congratulating that person and being in awe or ask for some tips to make their situation better, the emotionally insecure guy will take it as a threat to his ego, and he comes out with the behaviors I'm going to be going through is how he responds, and that's how you can tell that he's wrestling with some insecurities. Now, it's my contention that the majority of men are insecure. Some, like I said, are deeply insecure. I mean, there's nothing in this world that can save them. They just are a hot mess, just walking around needy and hateful and angry and see every single thing as a threat to them. Well, I'll go into these in more detail, but according to the psychologist, I think he's from Vienna, his name is Alfred Adler, people who feel inferior will try to overcompensate, he says, by doing something called striving for superiority. So the 12 traits that I'm going to be going over basically would fall under that, because what they're trying to do is jockey for a position where they feel in their mind that they are better than you, better than whoever the you is. It doesn't have to be you that's listening to this video, but they don't want to feel insecure and insignificant and small, even though those thoughts are all something that they created in their own head. Now, nobody told them that. They're making themselves feel bad, but they don't want to feel that way. So the only way that they can think of to not feel that way is if they can make you as miserable and unhappy and insecure as they feel. And I have discussed this in various forms. Last year I did a 25 video series called the things misogyny, whatever. I can't remember the name. I can't ever remember the name of that series. But anyway, it's like the things that black men do to make black women jump through hoops series. I will link the playlist right above at the top of this page. But I go through that in all the ways that they try to bring you down to their level. Now, I didn't call it emotional insecurity at that time, but I'm labeling it so now. And the one who came up with this title is Dr. Adler. So remember that these guys, they're not going to feel good about themselves unless they're standing on your head, making you feel as miserable as they do. Then they feel okay because you're miserable and unhappy too. So let's talk about the 12 things that, the 12 signs rather, that the man you're dealing with is emotionally insecure. Numero uno, he will talk about other people. He will talk about other people bad. Talk about their looks. He'll talk about their clothes. They'll talk about their age, their hair, their body. Anything that he perceives to be a fault in them, people he doesn't even know, he's going to talk about it. And he's going to, he could be, the person could be like walking on the street or like way across the room in a nightclub or at, in the mall or something. He's going to find somebody that he can rag on and say something negative about, because in that moment he's feeling insecure for who knows, whatever reason, because a fly went by, who knows. And he wants to try to make, he's trying to bolster his ego. A lot of times when they do this kind of stuff, the people that they will be talking about are your exes or your friends or your family members, and it's to make themselves do what Dr. Adler labeled as striving for superiority. He wants to position himself so that he is the source of your joy and happiness and your whole life, and by putting other people down, he thinks that's going to do that. In reality, he's very jealous of other people and the time that they spend with you and how they look and their body shape. And he's just very insecure and very jealous about anything that has to do with you. So that's something that you might want to watch out for. If he starts with that, talking about other people's stuff, just stop him, because this is something that, like I said earlier, you can put a halt to this. You just stop him and say, okay, you being like a little bitch boy right now. What man sits around talking about other people like this? You need to quit. This is not cute. It's not sexy. It's not turning me on. It's making me think I'm here with another woman. And so since I'm not gay, let's stop this. Okay, just stop him in his tracks with some real language that'll make him take a look at himself and be like, oops. Okay. Number 2, he badmouths people that he was once very close to, like it could be his ex-girlfriends, ex-male friends even. And this is really odd because it's like, okay, at one point you love that person and that you had a hand in the relationship ending. It wasn't all the other person's fault, but they will never admit that. It's always somebody else's fault, which I'll address a little further down. So he will badmouth, the woman. And of course, you listening to that, the only side of the story that you hear is his. So he's looking to get sympathy. He's trying to get you, on his team. And you really need to watch that. Don't just automatically assume that what he's telling you is true and that the other person actually did all the things that he's saying they did, or that they have all the responsibility for the relationship or friendship ending. There's always 2 people in it. And when you see how he behaves, you can bet that most of the responsibility is his, but he'll never admit it. It's very hard for him to admit that how he treated somebody and that they didn't take it, and so they left him alone. He doesn't want to admit that, so he's going to try to make it their fault. Number 3, he brags about everything. I put on the slide his career and goals and possessions, and those are a lot of the things, but they just brag about everything. Even when they're old, they still do it, because these old dudes, in their 40s and 50s, sitting up here talking about, because when I was a youngster, I used to leap over mountains with a single bound, and I could hold on, and I could just ice skate for 12 weeks at a time. I could skate all across the country. I could bicycle. Okay, whatever. They're going to make themselves sound like they're just the best thing since sliced bread. And, if you're an actual person who's confident and what you've done and who you are, your career, your relationships and stuff, you don't need to brag about it. So when you see someone bragging about it, and I saw this dude in a restaurant one time, and I guess I don't know if it was true or not, but okay, he was making it sound like he was involved in this huge commercial real estate deal. But I couldn't figure out why he was, if that's true, why are you in Denny's? Why are you here? You should be at like, Ruth Chris's or something. Not here. But he's sitting back on the little booth, with the little plastic seats, and he talking about all these millions of dollars that's supposed to be. And I'm like, who is he thinking he's impressing here at Denny's? I just, this was a long time ago. This was when I still ate like eggs and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is just pretty amazing. But that stands out in my mind because it's a perfect example of this behavior, and as dude was talking, he kept, looking around to like see who was looking at him and stuff. At Denny's. I have to keep saying that because you at Denny's, dude, and you talking about millions in Denny's. I didn't get that, but whatever, that's what they do. They also, in their quest to strive for superiority, will fish for compliments. While he's bragging, he's looking for you to tell him, yes, baby, you are the best. Yes, baby, your business deals are just the biggest and the most wonderfulest on the planet, baby. Okay, that's what that's a part of the whole scenario. That's what he's looking for you to do. Okay. Oh God, these guys are just a knife in the ass. Okay, number 4, belittles the success and achievement of other people. Now, if he notices that someone, is making more money than he does, has a better title than he does, or, say you guys go someplace and, is you're getting an award for something, and or you just did something pretty great and people in the crowd are saying congratulating you, like a little group in the cocktail party, whatever, he's going to find some way to put it down. Well, it's not that great because blah, blah, blah. And he's going to compare you negatively to either himself, which is the usual one, or to someone else. Or, yeah, she got that idea from me because, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't all her doing, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, he's going to find some way to throw salt on it and make it seem like you didn't do as great as you think you did. They'll do this, and you'll feel it. I mean, even if women don't say anything, you can. I've seen situations. You can see the woman's expression change, and you can see the disappointment in her face and the hurt that he would treat her like that and put her down like that. And I know that kind of stuff stings. I've been in a situation where I had a guy who did that. And I did dump him though. We hadn't really been going out that long, so I didn't see any reason to try to work anything out with his tired, funky ass. But if you have someone who belittles your success and your achievements and mocks them and puts them down and makes them seem like they really aren't such a big deal anyway, you might want to think about that, because that behavior is not going to stop. He's going to continue doing that. And is that the kind of person that you consider a cheerleader? Is that somebody who's on your team? You got to seriously think about that, because he's showing you who he is right there. Pay attention. Number 5, makes excuses for mistreating other people. Now, these are the guys, we see them online, right? They mistreat women. They do something to a woman, and other people bring it and point out to him that how foul and funky he is. This is the comeback always. Well, she let me do it. Why did she let me do it then? It's her fault. And his mistreatment of her, his abuse, his cheating on her, his lying to her, him beating on her, they always do that. They turn around and say, well, you shouldn't have made me mad. You shouldn't have said what you said. You should just, do what I tell you to do. Whatever it is, he's going to mistreat someone, and then he's going to flip it around to make it be their fault, or he's going to have some kind of really good excuse for why he did what he did. And, it's a lot of times the excuses that they come up with, like say if he's late all the time or something like that, it may sound reasonably plausible. Oh, there was an accident on the freeway, and I got stuck in the traffic. So, okay, that does happen, and we know that does happen. But why does it happen every time that you're supposed to go somewhere with me? You see what I mean? That's what you got to look at. I said at the top of the video, you got to look at the context and the frequency that the things happen, because each one of these can happen occasionally, once, twice, whatever, over the course of a relationship. But if you see a consistent pattern of these kind of behaviors, well, then you know you have a problem child. Number 6, this is the guy who's a bad loser. Oh my God. They're going to say, well, so-and-so had an advantage. You must have cheated. You couldn't have got it fair. You didn't do, something happened. He was at a disadvantage because blah, 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 blah. And anyway, he's going to make up some excuse. A lot of these MGTOW dudes do that online when they say that, women have all these advantages, that women have, society is set up against men, and that's why they're losing. No, you're losing because you're a loser. That's what you are. You're a loser that makes excuses for the fact that you're a loser, instead of standing up, dusting off the butt you just fell back on, and getting back out there in the game. Instead, you want to sit around and cry online and try to blame complete strangers for your loserness. Oh my God, these guys make me just want to just line them up and slap them. But that's what you'll see. These people hate to lose. They hate to lose at anything. They can't handle criticism, because they see that as an assault on their perfection. They can't admit that they made a mistake, and that's why they ended up being the loser in a certain situation, or didn't get what they want out of the situation. But instead of listening to constructive criticism and trying to grow as people, they flip it around and try to make it your fault that they are the way that they are because you didn't do something that would have helped them be better, or whatever it is. Anyway, they lost, you won, and they're angry about it, so they try to bring you down about the fact that you won and they didn't. Number 7, they make a mockery out of people who have less than they do, or maybe people who are living in poverty or whatever. We saw a lot of that with the white folks when Trump was running. They was talking about cutting benefits for Section 8 and food stamps and stuff like that. People were like, yeah, because these welfare queens, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, those food stamps feed children. This isn't about welfare. I mean, nobody gets welfare anymore. I mean, they get it for like 2 years. You have to be in a work program now. So this fantasy that they have that people sit on welfare for 50 years and don't ever work, I don't know where that even fantasy comes from. And the second part of that fact is the people who are on the most on those aid programs are white people, not black. We're only 12% of the population at best. And so, what? The sheer numbers would tell you that that's faulty thinking. But, they don't care if children are homeless. They don't care if children have no food. And when you look at all the billions and billions of dollars of their fathers owe in child support, well, the government is kind of helping step in and bridge that gap so that these children have nutritious food on the table and a roof over their heads. But these men were gleeful. There are dozens of videos on YouTube. You can just do a search and see the absolute party that they were having at the thought that Trump was going to get rid of Section 8 and was going to make, quote, black women, because most of the ones that were making these videos were black, have to come to them with their tail tucked between their legs because they wouldn't have this help anymore. And it's like, if the daddies paid child support, they wouldn't need the help. You know how that is? So it still rolls back to men not doing what they're supposed to be doing for their children that they made. So I thought it was just really weird, but that's what they do. So they want to, mock people and taunt them, and they're hoping that their situation stays the same, and they better hope it does, because otherwise, they'll be in the very situation that they were laughing about these other people being in, which would be really interesting. Number 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I see I mixed 7 and 8 together. Yeah, if the person's not living with less, they're going to gleefully hope that they do someday. So that was all part of the Section 8 takeaway, that they were hoping that it would just send women and children into a tailspin of poverty and need, and force them to come running to their loser behinds that no woman wants. So they feel like the only way they can get a woman is if she's like desperate for housing for her kids, and then she'll come to you. Please. She might rather live in a homeless encampment. Okay, so then moving on to number 9. He works to bring other people down and ruin their confidence and self-esteem. That's what the whole series was about last summer. These guys can't stand to see you happy. Oh my goodness. Like if something happens good and you come in the door, oh, blah, blah, blah. He just going to be giving you the mean mug. Like, what's she so damn happy about? Instead of being happy with you, they're going to just, dampen your moment, dampen the mood. And have you being quiet because you can see that he's not really celebrating this moment with you. He's all on something else. In reality, what it is just two things at work here. First of all, he's intimidated by the fact that you achieve something, you're happy about something could happen to you, and he doesn't like that. He doesn't like the fact that you have some joy in your life that he was not a part of. He feels envious, jealous. It triggers his insecurities. Why? Because he knows if you can get happiness and joy and pleasure from other sources other than him, then what do you need him for? See, he's not looking at what else he might offer you, because he knows you don't offer nothing because he's a sorry piece of shit. But what he does when a situation like this is try to bring you down. He wants to bring you down because he wants you to feel like a lack of confidence and to feel a moment of weakness, because like I said, he wants you to feel like how he feels. Number 10, he keeps bringing up the past to remind other people of their mistakes. These guys never let stuff go. You see them a lot online talking about stuff that happened like 50 years ago, and they still talking about it. It's like, hello, did you look at a calendar recently? It's 2018, dude. You still talking about something that happened in 1982. Let's move on here. Let's move on. And they just have a really, really hard time with that. And they just won't let you go. So you made a mistake one time, something bad happened. He gonna keep bringing it up every time he can. He's gonna bring, yeah, but remember that time you did blah blah. So you ain't so great, you ain't so perfect. Yeah, I remember that time you fucked up and you did that. So they're gonna keep bringing it up. So you never ever get to live it down. That's one thing I'm gonna link to this video too, to remind women: keep your mouth shut about your past. I keep telling y'all that y'all be talking too much, telling these dudes too much of your business, and then it comes back to haunt you in situations like this. I'm telling you, it'll be linked up at the top. Number 11, he always has to have the last word. Insecure people always want to go away feeling like they had the last word. Now, if you really are secure in what you said and your research and this and that, other people can have a difference of opinion. You don't care, because you know what's real. You know what the facts are. But they love to go back and forth with people because it's a way to make them feel like they're so smart. They're gonna be quoting stuff like, well, yes, this is signs of the Willie Lynch syndrome, said with all kinds of authority. Or they're gonna quote Jesus, or something as they backup man. They wing man is Jesus, and they're trying to shut you down so you stop talking, and it just makes them feel like an authority, like they're validated. And any point, even no matter how retarded their point is, their argument, their position, they will never back down from it. They're going to keep coming back at you like over and over and over again, like a little ravenous dog, and nipping at your heels, because if they can't have the last word and have you just say, okay, then fine, or you're right, that's the preferred thing, or oh, okay, fine, but it's something like that where you basically just give up, then if you don't do that, then they feel inferior and they feel insignificant and they feel like, that you've hurt them in some way. You're not listening to them. And one of their favorite phrases is to say, as a man or as a black man. And so you're supposed to like bow down and just listen to every little utterance that comes from his crusty, scaly lips after he says that. And that's their way of having the last word. So, I know you all have seen that. I mean, they be wearing that out. And the last one in this video is he's defensive. He takes everything personally. This happens a lot. Okay, you make a statement, like on the internet, social media, you make a statement. Well, some of these black men do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And when they do that, I don't like it. It's really damaging. It's hurtful to people. They shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. Here they come. Well, it's not all black men. Well, I don't do things like that. Does anybody even know you? Shut up, fool. Go somewhere. Go somewhere and get out of my face and get off my thread. I don't care to hear anything you have to say. But or you say something like that, and then here they come, due to feeling all defensive and attacked, like, you don't like black men, you hate black men. No, I hate men who act like this. I was very specific. Do you act like this? If you don't act like this, I'm not talking about you. Just like if I'm talking about millionaire athletes, that's not you either. But I don't see you getting on your feelings about that. So, it's like they take everything so personally. It's just like they just feel so attacked. And on the opposite side of that is, let some old, some mammy type pick me come up and say, oh, I love all black men. They're all kings. They're all wonderful. They're this and that. And then here they come in like by the hundreds, just so thirsty for some acknowledgement and attention that, and some validation for their insecurities. Oh, thank you, Queen. Thank you for recognizing us. And no one ever congratulates us. And and so it's like this mentality that they don't feel good about themselves unless somebody is telling them that they're okay. And it could be a complete stranger that doesn't even know their name, ain't never seen them before, but they're gonna sit there and take that personally, like she's personally congratulating them. The same way if someone makes a general statement with criticism of certain types of behaviors, they take that personally as an attack. So these guys take everything personally. There's nothing, they are just some exhausting souls. I don't know how y'all do it. I can't be bothered. But so that's part one of this. On the next one, I'm gonna go into the feelings of inferiority and inadequacy and how those play out in relationships. And then in video number 3, which may be number 2, I don't know which order I'm gonna do them in yet, I'll talk about what low self-esteem is from the male perspective and how it is exhibited in their behavior as it relates to women and relationships as well. So everything here is about relationships. I mean, if I did it in every single aspect of life, then this would be a like 800-part video. But I'm limiting it to males who are heterosexual and who interact with heterosexual females, because that's what I primarily talk about on this channel, and the relationships that those people have that will get married or dating, whatever y'all gonna do. But that is the parameters under which I make my points in my videos. If that's not you, that's okay, because this is a judgment-free zone. But I'm just one person, so I have to limit my to the experience that I have, and so that's the experience that I have, and so that's what I talk about, and the angle that I talk about. Somebody asked me that question, so that's why this is in here. It may seem rather random, but it is in response to a question that came in. All right, so you guys, I will see you in the next video for Video a Day February. This one will be for February 11th. Talk to you soon.